I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Shawshank Redemption.
Movie deep dives.
Coming up next.
I hereby order you to serve 2 life sentences back to back, one for each of your victims.
Andy came to Shawshank Prison in 1947.
Why'd you do it?
I didn't, since you ask.
You can fit right in. He had a quiet way about him. A walk and a talk that just wasn't normal around here.
There's something inside they can't touch.
What are you talking about?
Hope.
Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. You better get used to that idea.
Oh, my holy God.
Get busy living or get busy dying. That's damn right.
Please, Brooks! Get away! Get back! Oh, that was actually going to be our original intro, but we thought it was a little too graphic. But I wanted to hold a knife to Story's throat. You know, do a little Brooks. You can be stuttering...
Hayward.
Stuttering Hayward. All right, Shawshank Redemption. We saved this for the last one of the year. The last of the 10 movie deep dives for this year. Question of the day. There's a two-parter here. Is this the greatest movie of all time? Second part, would this movie actually be better with Tom Hanks as Andy?
No and no. So I understand the argument for it being the best movie of all time, but when we get to our hottest takes, I can talk about that in more detail, but I do not consider this to be the greatest movie of all time. I also couldn't see Tom Hanks in this role. He's too genial, too likable. I don't think a jury would convict him. Right, for murder.
Yeah.
I
see that.
But Tim Robbins, he's a douche. So there you go.
Real quick though, why do you love this movie?
There's a lot. There's a lot to love about this movie. The themes are incredible. The writing. I love Frank Darabont as a writer and a director. The cinematography is absolutely outstanding. The acting in this is great. Right. There's all sorts. It's not the most quotable movie, but I mean, if TNT is going to shove it down your throat once a week, then it's hard not to have it on. Joking aside, though, it is a phenomenal movie, an absolutely outstanding movie, and I can see why it is top for most people.
What say you, Ray?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best movie ever, but I can easily, honestly, just rewatching it a few times, getting ready for this podcast is one of those things that, because I won't lie, it's always been one of my favorites, but it's one of those movies that rewatching it, especially since, some of the past podcasts this year we've done that are definitely way more, high adrenaline, just more, go, go, go. This is not as much as that, but Story, like you said, with the acting and the cinematography and the writing, just everything with this movie, it really does bring it together to be a phenomenal movie. And it's one of those things to where so many things about this movie that we'll go into deeper down the line here make this movie so rewatchable. And like you said, you see it on AMC, TNT, it doesn't matter. It's on. It's one of those movies. Even if it's halfway through, you'll throw it on because we've loved this movie so much and it's so well done.
Yeah. So this is, I think, the best example of, we've talked about this a lot in the pod in terms of they don't make them like they used to. Mm-hmm. This is a $20 million, $25 million drama movie, which they have just totally stopped. It's always a miniseries. They don't make them like this anymore. This movie is so bleak, the subject matter, right? But it's also so enjoyable to watch. It's uplifting. It's got some funny parts. It always kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat, even if you know exactly what's going to happen. We all know the spoiler alert that he escapes, but there's all the little breadcrumbs they lay, and just all the characters and just everything, right? And it's ultimately a movie about male friendship, which, there's not a lot of women in this movie. There's 3. Women do not speak in this movie besides the posters. Is there any women in this movie?
There's the woman in the bank at the end who hands him the cashier's check.
There's a woman in the meeting,
wife.
Red's last meeting.
Yeah,
his
there's
wife.
the parole board. So maybe 3 actresses in this. But you're right. I mean, it's friendship. It is the hero's journey. It's uplifting. There's a lot. There's a lot of religious undertones to this as well, which kind of come through the more you watch it. But it's also great to see the bad guys get their comeuppance at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Or halfway through the movie when it comes to box.
So we'd be remiss not to mention Morgan Freeman's all-time narration. It makes the movie, right? It's good narration, yeah, but it's the best of him. It's the best narration of all time.
How is it that he has his best as the first? I'm saying that's how awesome he is.
And it made him a narrator, right?
Well, it becomes whatever he thinks of a narrator.
So I have a list I compiled here. I want to get your guys' take on just the best narrations of all time.
Oh, good.
And, I mean, this is thought to be one of the best, but I'm going to give you some of my personal favorites and what all other people have said. We have Goodfellas, Fight Club, Stand By Me, another Stephen King, awesome narration. Forrest Gump, same year as this, actually. And then this is kind of a dark horse that I love personally, is American Beauty. Kevin Spacey's narration. So would you kind of put all these movies up there with this narration, or is this head and shoulders above?
Goodfellas would be up there for me. All the other movies, I'm not even like, I don't really like American Beauty that much. I've always seen Stand By.
Blasphemy.
Yeah,
I'm with them.
there's one great line in that. It's Kevin Spacey when you don't get to tell me what to do anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, for me it's Goodfellas and The Shawshank Redemption.
You? Right?
I'm literally with him because especially I didn't know that when I did research and found out that this guy watched that movie like once a week during the filming of this. It just shows hand in hand clearly because obviously Goodfellas laid the brick road for this, and here we are. And it was I would say those are the best.
I'm gonna give you Fight Club as a 1A 1B to this, just for the simple fact that Edward Norton's character in that is considered. He's called the narrator because his name. They don't really ever reveal his name, and it's Tyler Durden, who's the character of Brad Pitt. But just the darkness of that and just everything about the narration, how weird it is, I put that up here with that just because it's such a big part of the movie.
Well, it's a very, very amazingly unique movie that part of that movie makes that what it is.
Right.
So
without the narration, what is that movie? Because it's a book, right? Correct. And without that, what do you have? Fight Club is just a random... It's scene.
It's tough. It's tough because he's an unreliable narrator too. How much can you really take?
That's why I love
it.
Is that it's his view of what's going on, and you're also seeing it in real time. Also, there's a lot of suspense in this movie. So I broke it down here. Frank Darabont, genius. He structures it, which is also a Stephen King novel, but he took the adaptation of that and made it into this movie. 9 short stories, and I have the short stories here for you. Fresh Fish, Andy and the Sisters, Beer on the Roof, Brooks Was Here, The Opera, Tommy, The Escape, Red's Release, and Mexico.
So those are 9 short stories within the novella? Okay.
Really?
What is the opera? What does that entail?
Opera, that's when he plays the opera.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm saying, I just want to make sure. So when Stephen King wrote this book,
novella.
It was novella. Thank you. It's 9 short stories.
Not really. He broke it up like that.
Oh yeah, okay. Sort of how Tarantino does his in the chapters in a way like okay.
And in each of those though, there's individual suspense in terms of what's going to happen. The Fresh Fish, the Andy and the Sisters, but we all, even if you watch the movie though, like my point was, it's still great knowing what's going to happen. It's still a little level of suspense, even though there's not a lot of suspense in this movie. It's not a suspense movie. It's a drama.
No, it is a drama through and through. But each one has its own. Each of those chapters, or whatever he calls them, has their own kind of intro, middle, and ending, and it wraps everything up a little nicely, right?
One other thing about how smart this movie is. So, obviously he escapes at the end. Spoiler. I just said it
Spoiler,
first.
yeah.
But obviously, if you're watching this, you know this. But they really do a great job of kind of not revealing, besides a couple scenes, if you're paying attention, that he's on the end cell. There's a couple times where he comes out, but they don't really show the end. They kind of just start with him.
I thought they sort of do in the very first time they put him in there.
They do, yeah, right. But you're not paying attention the first time you see it because it has no
bearing on the scene or the story.
Which again, I'm not gonna lie, it gives into the amazing foreshadowing that this movie always puts forth.
Yeah.
That to your guys' point, when you're first watching, you're not paying attention to you guys.
Frankly, I'm looking forward to going back and watching this again after doing all this research for this podcast and just catching everything that I've been reading for the last 2 weeks.
And the smartest thing, though, might be the best cut in movie history. So when the end scene where they're showing him, originally they show him carving his name in the wall when he first gets the axe, what does he call it? The
hammer, rock.
It's a rock hammer.
Rock hammer.
Right. He's carving his name, and they show it later when the piece breaks off.
Yep.
That was in the original cut of the movie at that point early on.
So that was real.
And they edited that out because it kind of gave away, that the fact he could go through the wall. That may be the greatest editing decision in any movie ever because it changes the movie. That's 30 minutes in, and they're showing that the piece fell off. They bring that in, 2 hours in, or hour 50 in, showing he got the idea. Because he got the rock hammer not to break out originally. It was to shape and carve rocks. He was a bit of a rock hound in his previous life.
Well, and to be honest, that is a great point because when they build it such a particular point that he is a big geologist fan and loves rocks. So just building it up, and so when at the end when Morgan Freeman's explaining it made sense because he's a huge geologist guy, so
pressure and time, right?
Right, 100%.
It appealed to his meticulous nature.
Yep.
$25 million budget for this one. And it came out during one of the best movie years of all time, 1994.
We have covered that before.
We've all covered
Pulp
it.
Fiction and Forrest Gump. And
Jurassic
Pulp was
Park.
the big thing with movie nerds. something that had never been done before. And Forrest Gump was just, an iconic.
Jurassic Park, Lion King,
So many good movies, right?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. It bombs in theaters. Okay, $16 million it made in the first go around, which is $9 million less than the budget. Crazy, right? Ends up getting 77 Academy Awards after the fact. They
award nominations.
Nominations. Sorry, They re-release it. Ends up making $58 million from that.
At the rentals, they killed it.
Castle Rock then has it, puts it on TNT, gets in you mentioned the crazy circuit of just TNT, AMC all the time. Perfect 3-hour movie. You had 40 minutes of commercials. It is on all the time.
Pretty sure it's up 3.5 nowadays.
Yeah, he had an hour, and just becomes the iconic TV movie that is just playing 5 times a week on this channel.
Oh, wait, yeah. I mean, at least. I mean, you could find... we can all sit here and name at least 10 movies that we know are on that list, and this movie's on that list. So.
Roger Ebert, what do you think you gave it? Do you guys look this up?
I looked it up, so...
I would say he probably gave it, I would hope, at least 3.5.
4 stars.
Awesome.
Well, his initial review was 3.5. Then he re-reviewed it later on and gave it 4 stars.
So we kind of sold out a little bit.
So Ray had a good call there.
I will take 3.5.
With his initial trash review. So.
Yeah, right. No, he loved it. I mean, he loved it from the start. And going back later on, he gave it a 4-star review.
His quote is, most of this film is about holding on to a sense of personal worth, which is a big theme of the movie, right? Like not losing hope and all that kind of stuff. Any last words before we get into the categories?
I would just say that I love Frank Darabont as a writer-director. I can't believe he hasn't done more projects, and I really hate AMC for taking him off of The Walking Dead, because the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead are outstanding.
Oh, my God.
So wait.
Some of the best drama.
He's The Green Mile, The Mist. Frank Darabont is just...
I'm not going to lie, I watched the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead and then just stopped watching it and then heard it went downhill, and now that you're telling me...
You have not missed a thing.
Now that you're telling
there's
this,
okay stuff here and there, but
still,
yeah.
that's
After
insane.
season 4, it was bad.
But that's insane. Literally, you were telling me this is... I mean, I'm not going to lie, that blows my mind.
Yep.
That he's the one who did that. And
But I just want to put that little caveat in there.
that is a huge caveat, though. I mean, that just shows how awesome he is. That's ridiculous they took him off.
Best scene here. I got a couple quick nominees that didn't quite cut it for me, but the opening court scene and the flashback, I love that. We're going to get into Andy's defense later, which is insane. If he had a lawyer or whatever. Fresh Fish, I'm going to have that in there as an honorable. It's a little rough and weird, but it's a very big prison, the Fresh Fish gambling
I think
pool.
it just lays the outline of what Andy is to expect, to be honest.
Yeah, you get introduced to Hadley. You get the speech from Warden Norton. I believe in 2 things:
Salvation lies within.
the Bible and
talk about a horrible person saying such things. I mean, my gosh.
First one I have though is Andy and Red Meat, Rockhammer. Trying to get the Rockhammer and then playing baseball and just that whole scene. I liked Andy immediately, and he strolled through the yard without a care in the world.
Seems rather nonchalant for being in prison, for life. So
yeah.
Well, and at that point too, didn't Red say he didn't come up to him for a month? I think
Yeah,
so.
but a month into it.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that means, I'm not gonna lie, if I was in prison and that exact type of thing, it may take me up to a month to feel out who I may be able to trust to go up to, but still, that's...
You want to meet somebody. You want to have someone to kind of protect you. And Red, we know, is a guy that knows how to get things. That's the guy you want to kind of, latch on to, right? Or at least get something from him, a rock hammer.
To get to know.
100%.
Great scene. Also, quick, not to get into our internet research too much, but Darabont shot so many scenes, so many takes of the scene, that the next day, Freeman came in with a sling.
Yeah.
And
I heard that. 9 hours, right?
He was just throwing a baseball. And he was
Non-stop. Could you imagine,
pretty bad form, though. It's not good form.
But still, dude, I'll give you that. But even baseball players, professional, they can't throw for 9 hours.
It was very Tim Tebow-esque in terms of his the way he
I'll give you
threw.
that.
Next scene, Andy on the roof.
That's one of my favorites.
This may be the winner for me. Just the epic line it starts with, Mr. Hadley, do you trust your wife? My God, this guy's about to have an accident.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying, if you're first seeing that, you are going off of what the prisoners, his coworkers are doing, and you're just like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
What are you doing?
And,
Get back to work.
Right.
Just that scene is just unreal, and this is also the all-time Red narration when he comes in about they could be tarring their own roof, and then the screen fills with light. When they start drinking and the sun's out, right? You realize you're watching a different kind of movie when this happens. This is when Andy kind of ingratiates himself with the group. It's just everything changes at this point in the movie.
I would definitely say when you sit, like you said, when Red is narrating, and he's like Andy's just sitting there, like you said, the whole thing of them, they could have just been one of their roofs, and he's sitting there, he's like
ice cold bohemian.
Yeah, I mean, and just you could just tell like he does such a great acting job of literally what it would feel like, just a guy with like one of us, like. I bought you guys beer, and this is my house, and you guys, I bought you guys beer, and you're drinking, you're helping me, and I'm just sitting on the sun having this, like, this
Drink up while it's cold, ladies.
Yeah. I feel like a man feels more like a man when he's working with a bottle of suds, sir.
Wow.
You guys have any other scenes?
I'm not gonna lie, that's not a truer fact. So
true.
Let's be real.
We feel more like men when we're doing the podcast.
Tax free.
You have any other scenes before I get to the rest of mine? I'm sure.
I think the prison escape is a pretty classic scene. That's that one that if it's on, you got to keep it on. And but the nice thing I really like. I mentioned it earlier, leading into the comeuppance for both Hadley and the warden. So you think the warden is going to make his last stands, but he's a coward through and through and decides to take his own life. And then I really like Red's speech to the parole board. He's basically saying F you to them, F you to the system. He has lost hope. And they're like, all right, good enough.
You know what's funny about that? Like, again, it was one of those scenes when I was younger. I didn't notice this, but he did that 3 times initially. Had the same verbatim wording. Yeah. Always got, and then you said, coming with a great speech, nonchalant, don't care, like, Sonny, just sign the paper, stop wasting my time. And the guy was just like, wow, this is a different guy.
In the line of saying, I have to live with this. I want to talk to this young kid who committed the crime. That was me.
And that
I want to tell him how things are.
Mm-hmm.
But all that's left is this old man trying to essentially saying, like, that guy, that kid is so long gone, and this hardened. I wouldn't call him a criminal. It was a one-time offender, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
all that's left.
Yes, but you understand his crime is he killed 3 people, right?
Is it 3?
It's 3. So he cut his wife in the novella. He cuts his wife's brake lines to collect an insurance payout on her, but his neighbor and his neighbor's kid were in the car at the same time.
At 18, he did this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. I thought it was just like a crime of passion
or
just a random mugging.
Yeah. No, it's a...
Really?
Yeah.
But they don't go into this in the movie, though.
They do not go too much into it. There's a lot. So the interesting thing about the difference between the novella and this movie, same thing. Well, they do a little more in Green Mile, but there's a lot of mysticism and spiritual stuff, and there's even some like ghost stuff that Stephen King gets into that you don't get barely any of in the movie. So Darabont kind of stripped all that out.
A couple other things in the escape: meeting Randall Stevens when he walks in the bank. I love that.
I do love that scene. Yeah,
and then mailing the stuff to destroy the warden.
For a while there, I after I saw that scene, when I go to a bank, I used to have them mail letters for me. Can you put this in there? I'm going mail.
The narration that Red gives to, like he crawled through 500 foulness. I can't even imagine. Just everything as they're showing how he did it.
Yeah,
with
that breakout
Red's
scene
narration.
is just completely insane.
The swelling of the music when he comes out. Yeah.
Oh my God! Just again, the religious ties of putting his arms up.
I'd say that the one that you guys didn't mention, I love when he puts that music on, the Italian women.
The opera.
Just honestly, everything stops still, and just the cinematography, the music is so beautiful. I don't know.
Everyone stops.
Something. That's what I mean. Like the whole movie stops. Like and he purposely does that. Like you said, like it zooms out.
Even the sodomites down there, down that the warden talks about are like, oh, this is opera. You got the people in the infirmary.
I don't know. It was just one of those things. Like that's just I feel like a super iconic scene, at least in cinematography of the way it was shot, and I just love that because when it comes to like foreign music like that, it is just beautiful when you listen to it, and I can only imagine these guys just living the slum life as long as they have, hearing something that is so sophisticatedly beautiful.
Yeah,
it just seems
they haven't heard music before either.
That's what I mean. It just seems like it's such a perfect way to shoot that scene that I just really love about it.
It kind of reminds me of the Saving Private Ryan scene when they're listening to the 2 Italian girls or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're saying. He's translating it to them, but it's so beautiful. And they're just like getting ready to probably die, most likely. And they're just enjoying this one time to have music. These guys are probably never getting out of jail. And they're just enjoying one thing,
Makes them feel human.
Yeah.
For the shortest amount of time.
The other one I wanted to mention is real quick, not the whole Brooks side. We're going to get into that later, the whole side scene. But when they're reading the letter and how he's talking about how Brooks was institutionalized and how, at first these walls are funny. At first you hate them. Then you're going to depend on them. And then you just can't live without them. And it's crazy to say that. We would never, none of us have been to jail. It's true though. Like if that's your whole life. Brooks could not deal. He wanted to. Again, the knife scene. When I held the knife, I could do it again. Story.
Appreciate it if you wouldn't, though. Yeah.
He doesn't want to leave.
No.
And you see a little bit of that with Red at the end, where he's just like, he's happy and then he's sad because he's thinking about breaking his parole.
Asking his manager, I mean, we've all worked just normal retail jobs. It's like, you don't ask people to go to the bathroom. And he's just, like he said, he's like, I'm just so desensitized to the fact I have to ask to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
And real quick, I'll say, for me, honorable mention, I love that scene with the sisters with the ice pick. And he's like, I'm gonna shove. He's like, you don't open your mouth.
God.
I'm gonna shove this in your ear. And he's just like, yeah, that's fine. But, you know, just the whole explanation of what the brain does, and just him basically saying,
do you know how to read?
Basically, what if you put in my mouth is not gonna be there any longer. Like, I don't know. I just love, like, he is in the most, you know, like, vulnerable position he can be in, and yet he takes his brain to use power against these idiots to explain to them, like, yeah, you can do that, but like, this is literally what's gonna happen. But so like, do it, but you won't have a dick anymore. So,
What says the best story? What do you got?
The realistic portrayal of 1940s prison life. I was doing a little research on this. It seems to be fairly accurate. I think I think Stephen King did a really good job, and Darabont did a really good job kind of conveying that. The cinematography has aged phenomenally well. I think it's one of the best shot movies of all time. The addition of subtle foreshadowing and then not beating the audience over the head with what's to come is really, really good. I mentioned it earlier, Frank Darabont as a writer and a director has aged really well. And then you mentioned it earlier, Rob, Morgan Freeman, voice narration, right? That there is not much better when it comes to, you want to wrap yourself in Morgan Freeman's voice and just take a quick nap. So
You do.
I'm definitely with you on that, dude.
And I actually want to say, why haven't we started with a Morgan Freeman GPS app thing? Because like Erica has a guy doing hers, you know, it's always a female.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just have Morgan Freeman doing it? I will drive to like your house or somewhere I know. I will put on GPS if it's Morgan Freeman.
that would be pretty sweet.
Dude, let's do it. Because there's enough words he said where we can have the,
put it together and figure it
let's
out.
do it.
How much do you think you'd have to pay Morgan Freeman to actually get his
Once
voice?
he dies, it's fine. Let's wait for. Don't ever die, Morgan. Just so you
Please
know.
don't.
Yeah, please don't.
Is that all you had?
That's it.
What do you got?
So I had a lot of those. I would say that one of them is Andy and Red's relationship. I mean, just the genuine relationship. I just feel like it just aged super well because it's like, I mean, having a relationship that strong. I mean, to be honest, like, you know, no matter what, somebody that you can basically say that I can bet my life on, I'll take a bullet for, etc. That whole thing. You know, I just think that's one of those great things that have aged well with it. Because every time you watch it, you always just feel the genuine love and friendship that they have that grows throughout the movie. For me, to be as horrible as it is, but Brooks's story, it just still, no matter what, like it still ages well to where you see it, you still tear up a little bit, you feel bad, and it's horrible. You know, in the very beginning when he's introduced with the maggot, and you're just like. Tim Robbins just acts so well in that scene where he's just thinking he's about to eat it. Like he's like, and then especially he's like, oh yeah, that's nice and ripe. And his
You
face
think
is
he's gonna
like,
eat it, but
no,
it's
that's what I mean. Like, Tim Robbins does such a good job of acting, and then it opens his jacket. He's like, oh, you fell on with him, you know. And he's like, oh, he's a nice old man. And then time goes on, and that whole scene that we opened up with, and then you know, just the whole.
He also loses his closest friend in that crow.
100%, right? Yeah, Jake. Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the saddest parts. On when in his letter is that he's like, I go to the park and feed the birds, and I always hope that Jake will be there one day, and then obviously he ends up offing himself, and it's just like then the worst part, Red, and then the last words, and Red's like, he should have died in here. You know, like I know it's so sad, but it still ages well to where. No matter what, you're still gonna feel so bad.
He was there 50 years, man. And that's the whole lifetime.
It's such a well-written, heartfelt story. Even though he was a horrible murderer, but again, did we know that he was a horrible murderer?
No, Red was a horrible murderer.
Red was too nice to be a
I
murderer.
don't remember what Brooks's crime is.
He got framed.
Yeah,
he was second only
framed.
innocent man in Shawshank. I had the score. It's amazing.
Yeah,
like when he first walks into the prison, it's very sad, very poignant. Love that. The Fresh Fish gambling pool. At that point, we're talking 1940. Love that.
Probably still happens.
This is actually one of the
100%
funniest, weirdest things in the movie is, Andy and the sisters, all the whole 2-year thing he has. Red's quote of saying he believes that the first 2 years were the toughest on Andy. Yeah, you think the first 2 years of prison, being adjusted and getting gang raped were his toughest 2 years? He's talking about this in general. Yeah, that's probably the toughest.
It's hard to think about because it's 2 years that Andy has to go through near daily assaults, but in the movie, it's like 2.5 minutes.
Right.
You know?
But it's 2 years. They say it.
Yeah,
they
he
stop
says it.
messing with him. But that's got to be the toughest. Why are you even saying that, Red? Awful narration there. Like, it's not a good point.
Let me try to make a little light into the situation of him being
Not sure that you can, but go for it.
Well, that's what I'm going to go for. Remember when the warden had him in the hole?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm going to throw you down, and what was the...
With the sodomites.
Sodomites. And he's like, you're going to feel like you've been effed by a train. So I'm just going to sit here and say...
The sisters weren't that bad.
The sisters may have been this when downstairs may have been that. I don't know.
That's a nice hot take. I like that. No, that's a nice full circle. Good job, right?
I don't know, but I mean, that's horrible. It's a horrible hot take on a horrible thing.
Yeah. All right, we got to get to this. This is awesome. What tastes the best? I have the posters. We have Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, and Raquel Welch, kind of spanning 3 decades. Mm-hmm. I asked you guys to get with our generations. What are your 3 posters?
Yep.
80s, 90s, 2000s, 90s, 2000s.
80s. Come on.
Well, you're saying there's not. Hot
I was
chicks?
8 years old at the end of the 80s.
You didn't like women then?
No, I was 8 years old. I liked Legos and
So
I got a 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
Okay, did you do it as well, Ray?
No, I can do it here in a second.
Okay, well, give me yours first.
All right, so I'm going to circle back to the 90s because I think that's the best one.
Yes.
But so 2000s, Britney Spears, and I'm pretty sure this poster is still over my childhood bed, like up top. Yeah.
Okay.
2010s. This one's a little tough. I went with either Jessica Alba or Alicia Cuthbert. At the early 2010s, Alicia Cuthbert was the it girl.
That was my thing.
Yeah. 1990s. You're gonna love this. Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
I like those. All right. I had for the 90s. I had Sharon Stone.
Okay.
I just love Basic Instinct. Mine would be a nude though, so I don't know if it would qualify.
You like the old ladies, huh?
Oh, she was in the 90s. She was like 32.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hot. 2000s. I had Jessica Alba. Come on,
nice.
can't go wrong.
Okay.
And then 2010s, which is weird. She's a little older here. Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
Because that's Horrible Bosses.
Yeah,
right when she came in at 45.
Horrible Bosses, We're the Millers,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little fake.
I mean, you
some
could
work done,
go 2000s or even 90s.
But I didn't want to ruin Jessica Alba. I needed
That's
Jessica
fair.
Alba on there.
Okay.
And 2010s was harder. Those are mine.
show
Ray, what do you got?
So 90s, I would just put the easy thing would be Pamela Anderson.
That's the other one I had.
I'm just saying,
Just
like that's
iconic.
just the obvious. Just like
Baywatch.
Yeah, I mean, now 2000s, I would probably put
Me?
Shannon Elizabeth, man. Like,
Ooh.
Kelly
Yeah,
Kapowski.
Shannon Elizabeth. Okay.
I'm gonna say,
Back
I
in
know.
time.
Oh, Shannon
I'll give you a
Elizabeth.
90s one that was, even though she was a little young at the time, because I was younger than her, so I thought she was hot. But look, get Danielle Fisher from Boy Meets World. She is freaking hot.
I'm
as
pretty sure
well.
she transitioned, but okay. Go
Danielle
on.
Fisher, no, she's married with kids.
Oh,
Thanks.
you could still be married with kids in transition.
She definitely in a transition. You want to?
Okay.
Why are you arguing? I get to edit this out.
Okay,
So-
sorry. No, I'm not gonna. This is funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What do you got? What's your 2010s?
Daisy Dukes, Jessica Simpson.
Ooh, she looks really.
That, I'm
weird
saying
now.
that
Yeah,
Jessica
yeah.
Simpson, that like is, I'm saying like and to be honest, like I don't think I had that, but I probably should have. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was
Who was the Inception girl that did actually transition?
Paige,
Ellen Page.
Elliot Page.
Yeah, Ellen Page.
Pardon
is
me.
Elliot Page.
Now, if anyone had that, I might question your
Correct.
hetero-ness.
Which would have been Juno or something like that.
I had a couple other ones. The villains, age the best. Awesome villains.
Quality
Boggs,
villains.
Hadley, Warden Norton. I mean, Hadley, dude. Awesome Hadley. Did not really have a light touch. If you got messed up by Hadley, you were either not walking again, drinking through a straw, or you died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In a couple instances we saw. That's just what we saw.
No, he
I
was.
mean, he's as.
I mean-
but the thing is, he is a pawn of the warden. Everything he
Right,
does
right.
is under the warden's thumb.
And killing in
Tommy.
Tommy, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes is
Rob-
two things never happened again after that. The sisters never laid a finger on Andy, and Boggs never walked again.
But you know that was directed by Warden Hadley or
100%,
Warden
100%.
Warden Norton.
Yeah. The last one I had, though, is Andy explaining his money laundering scheme to Red, or the wardens, I guess, and the quote of, I had to come to prison to become a crook. What's age the worst story? What do you got?
So prison assault. I would say the R word, but trying to keep it algorithm friendly, so everybody knows what I'm talking about with the sisters. Yes. Unfortunately, it is a real life thing that still happens. It's terrible, and the prison system is awful, and so that ages badly. This one, privateering prisons. So prisons is a business. The warden runs the prison to make money, and private prisons are awful, awful, awful things, and we have not changed since the. It's a little different now in that we actually have private companies that run prisons, it's awful. Forget about it.
But that's the problem. Like prisons.
That's the problem. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. That prisons to this day are still privately owned, which is insane.
Not every prison, but the fact that privateering is a thing. Yes. And then I kind of went back on this one a little bit because you notice that the actors don't age over the 20 years except a little gray hair, so trying to make them look older. But then I was thinking, like, all right, think about what Scorsese did in The Irishman with Robert De Niro, where you've got a 75-year-old man playing a 19-year-old who's walking like Frankenstein. It's
Frank and It's Always Sunny. We'll just put a wig on him.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I'm not gonna lie, I would almost rather have that than the amount of money they spent on to have Robert De Niro.
The first Morgan Freeman, parole meeting, right? He's essentially 38 years old. But then he doesn't change much in his last parole meeting, which he
40 years later.
It's 30 20. Yeah, he's 58. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't change.
So, but at the same time, it doesn't really detract from the movie. It's just a little, yeah. There you go. That's mine.
A good one. Ray?
I know just money laundering, because it's just, I mean, in general, like, I know you could also technically put it as age the best, because it happens daily all the time, but people get caught for it also daily all the time, so.
Office Space, right? We're looking at money laundering in the dictionary.
How big of nerds are we?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I didn't have much, because this movie is almost perfect, but the biggest one I want to talk about, I mentioned it earlier, is Andy's defense. He's so smug in his defense, which is not a good thing to do. Did he have a lawyer? Because we didn't see his lawyer, and he was just a smart ass about it when he's about to die.
Maybe don't throw your gun in the river, Andy.
Two things.
Yeah, but he didn't commit a crime.
Two things. Well, still. I don't think he had a lawyer. He was too smart for himself.
So he pulled a Ted Bundy?
I'm just guessing. I mean, this is literally just pure guessing, but like just based on how smart that the movie shows he is. The movie show. Yeah, like I don't know. I just think he probably did represent himself.
No smart person is dumb enough to represent themselves.
Because it also just makes you look guilty.
Yeah.
Right, no, it's a phenomenal fact.
Unless you're Ted Bundy, which he was.
You know what? I'll give into that. That's a phenomenal fact.
The Gil Bellows section is Tommy. I just think it's Ace the worst because it's mostly the GED stuff. It's too long and it's not necessarily needed. I know they could have mentioned it and they didn't need the whole thing. That's an extra 5 or 7 minutes they didn't need. We need Tommy as a character talking about Elmo Blash and all that. I just think it's too long. Casting what ifs for Andy. Tom Hanks was cast, but he had Forrest Gump. I think good decision on both ends.
I think good decision there too.
But do you think Tom Hanks makes the movie better?
No,
I disagree.
I do not. No,
I don't want to go against you guys. I don't know. I guess the only reason that I'm in the middle with it. I think that with the soft-sidedness, he can easily do no matter what. Now the other side where Andy starts to become more hard. Who's to say? You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I can see.
But Tom Hanks never becomes Andy Dufresne.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because he is just Tom Hanks.
No,
there's
that's what I'm saying.
Point in the movie where Andy becomes very cynical and very despondent, and I don't know that Tom Hanks would convey the same thing. I mean,
and Tim Robbins though, forever for the rest of time, especially if you look at his IMDb, he is Andy Dufresne.
True,
and that is what makes this such a.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, I think Tom Hanks can do the first half of the movie.
So recast halfway through.
Yeah, as horrible as it is. But, I mean, I would like to see him
try
Heath
Ledger kind of thing where he dies.
I was going to say the last, whatever that last.
I'd like to see
Dr. Parnassus.
I mean, I'd like to see him try, but I'm saying I could see where you guys would be against that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Also for Andy, we had Kevin Costner. I'm going to give you a list, and you tell me who's best and who is the worst. Tom Hanks, Kevin Costner, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I read that too.
Johnny Depp, and Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage was considered?
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp.
I mean,
let's take Tom Hanks out. Let's take Tom Hanks out of the conversation. So we have Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, Kevin Costner, and Nick Cage.
Well, Kevin Costner
couldn't either because he did Wet World.
Wet World?
In general.
Waterworld, thank you, yeah.
We all agree Tom Cruise is the worst.
Yeah.
He's super small. He's super I understand you're a man who knows how to get things. That's what he would say. It'd just be awful.
You left off a couple because I read Charlie Sheen and Matthew Broderick and Jeff Bridges.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
No. I'm not saying those are good. I'm just saying those were people that I read were considered.
We think Costner's the best.
Those were actors at the time. It's easy for us to look back and say, ooh, but
Kevin Costner the best though?
I think so, yeah.
And then Tom Cruise the worst.
Yeah.
Nick Cage is probably bad too.
Charlie Sheen, Platoon.
Nick Cage is a stud.
Oh, he's awful. Tommy.
But yes, Kevin Costner, I'll agree.
Tommy, Gil Bellows, was supposed to be Brad Pitt.
I read that. That's
scheduling conflict.
He would have been super young.
Actually, no, it wasn't a scheduling conflict. Brad Pitt, Thelma and Louise hit big in the time it was supposed to happen, and then he said no because it was such a small role.
Oh, he turned it down.
Yeah.
Wait. You're that's real?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see that, and I'm not gonna lie. What ifs was Tommy for Brad Pitt?
Really?
Yes.
Good.
I'm not
Okay.
lying. I'm just saying, like.
Because he's almost
That's-
too handsome, too strong, too powerful.
No.
Like he steals the show. Where like Gil Bella's perfect,
not
right?
Then, not in
Yeah,
94.
Gil Bella's great.
But
I mean, he
Not
plays
in 94.
like a
He's
classic.
He's still Brad Pitt.
Plays a classic
Tommy
greaser.
looked pretty damn handsome.
He did.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Gil Bella's didn't do much.
I'm,
be honest.
I'm just saying.
Rip Gil Bella's career. Boggs. We had James Gandolfini,
Yeah, I read that too.
who didn't want to get typecast as a bad guy, which is hilarious.
Interesting.
Like,
That's hilarious.
that would have been a
Knock
way
on wood.
different
I didn't
feel,
read
though,
that. That is
right?
hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been
funny.
way
I love
different.
the Boggs we got because
yeah.
like the weird little like sexual looks he's
Yes.
giving him, like,
yeah, dude.
I like it. I like
I don't know, the redhead.
playing hard to
Plus,
get.
I'm not gonna lie. Just nothing against redheads because I have many family members that are redhead, but it's just like the red hair and it just
Right.
worked. It just really, like you said, even it was James Gandolfini. If he was skinnier and I don't know, it was black. I don't know. I'm
Could
with
you see James Gandolfini saying, "Oh, hard to get"? I
Yeah,
like
no,
that. It wouldn't
not
be
at
the
all.
same. Like that was like
He never really
real
Tony
like
Soprano either.
pedophilia kind of weirdness.
Yeah,
like,
Boggs feels like a northeastern,
Yeah,
like
100%.
Kind of guy, and
He would-
Gandolfini is an Italian. It doesn't
The
really
mob guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
And he never would have been ever casted as Tony Soprano. Let's be
and
real here.
you guys are both gonna love this last one because we talked about him on the Seinfeld pod. John Favreau auditioned for Fat Ass, and he said it was his worst audition he ever had. It's probably the best thing that happened to him because that's such a small
Who did he
role.
audition for?
Fat
Fat
Ass.
Ass. In the very
fresh
beginning,
fish guy.
when-
Oh,
Fat Ass. That's what they
No
call
kidding.
him. It's Fat Ass by a nose.
no kidding.
Yeah, Fat Ass. That's what he's named. Do you guys have any other ones I missed?
Yeah,
or-
Eastwood, Clint Eastwood, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, and Harrison Ford were all considered for Red. But Frank Darabont had Morgan Freeman in mind, despite the fact that in the novella, Red is an Irishman, like a white, red-haired Irishman,
Right.
and that's where his name
Right.
comes from.
Internet research story. What do you got?
Well, the Darabont one's interesting, or the Rob Reiner one. He loved it. He offered Darabont $2.5 million to buy the rights
And direct it, right?
and direct it, and Frank Darabont chose not to sell it. You mentioned this earlier, Ray. Frank Darabont was inspired by Goodfellas, both the voiceover and the editing techniques when creating the movie.
Thank God.
This one's just a little fun fact. The American Humane Association was on site monitoring the filming because there were scenes with live animals, the crow, Brooks' Jake, and claimed it was cruel to feed a live maggot to the crows, so the crew had to go and find a maggot that had died of natural causes.
Okay.
Yeah. Red's mugshots in the film are actually those of his son, of Morgan Freeman's son, Alfonso Freeman.
Who is also fish. Oh, fresh fish, reeling it in.
Yeah,
That's
he's one of the guys
that's
in
his son-
the
that's his son.
opening scene.
Yep.
Rob, you mentioned it earlier, but Morgan Freeman had to throw a baseball for 9 straight hours to get that scene. The filmmakers, I thought this was really cool. The filmmakers had to recruit ex-cons from a halfway house to play the extras as prisoners because most of the locals, they filmed this in Ohio, had day jobs. And then there are multiple wardens throughout Andy's time in Shawshank in the novella, and that's why you get sharp characterization shifts for Warden Norton throughout the film. Like, he's very nice, and then he's very cruel, and so on and so forth.
Morgan Freeman also said this is one of his, like, he personally thinks this is his favorite movie he's ever done, which, I mean, let's be real here. Like, he was in Glory before, but, like,
Oh, I love Glory.
oh, it's a great film.
He's integral. The girl's integral, Jerry. Like, he's
Not
integral
proposing
to
getting
movie.
rid of the girl.
Narration, the second lead. I mean, call him tieback. Watch Seinfeld pod, boys.
Yeah, go watch the Seinfeld episode.
I got some really good ones here. Stephen King never cashed the $5,000 check from Darabont. He framed it.
Yeah.
no
That shows
kidding.
how rich
Yeah.
he is.
He said it to him.
Yeah, Stephen King is a multi-millionaire.
Do you guys remember how much money Andy stole from the warden? At the end of the day, how much did he get?
$370,000.
$375.
$375.
I love doing this. You know I love this
Oh,
exercise.
yeah.
With inflation.
Sorry,
It's-
Wait,
Can
1947?
Can we take a guess,
Yeah,
please?
take a guess.
Or so
What year?
67?
This was 66?
No, it's 62.
When he
No,
gets
I thought
out, it's got to
they
be like
said
66 or
66.
67.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's in there for
Let's
20
say
years.
66.
Yeah.
Okay. 370 is gonna be.
I'm gonna go 4.2 million.
I'll go 5.
3.7 million.
Okay.
Nowadays.
Well, okay, so damn,
Pretty good. Pretty good. The actual poop that he crawled through, was actually not poop. Spoiler.
I would
alert.
hope not.
It was water, chocolate, and syrup, water, chocolate, syrup, and sawdust.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if that was real poop, he deserved the all-time five. I'm not gonna lie, boys. I was just driving here and I hit a speed sign and
So
I
you get
to a
infection.
tree line. I'm like, that's about 100 yards. Going 45 miles per hour. It took me 7 seconds to get there, and I thought to myself, 7 seconds times 5, 35 seconds to go 500 yards in a car,
Yeah.
crawling.
This is a great one. The final shot is dedicated to Alan Green. Who was Alan Green?
He was his. They said it was his agent. I
Yeah,
believe.
Darabont's
Yeah.
agent who died of
Yeah.
AIDS.
AIDS, right?
It's the all-time solid anyone's ever done because the movie is still going. It's panning out, and it gets dedicated to Alan Green that gets seen by 500 million people, right, throughout the course of time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this guy did. Maybe Darabont gave him AIDS. I don't know, but like he did some kind
Hot
of
take.
huge solid.
Hot take.
Well, I'm just saying, like, what a solid for the guy. Like,
Must have had a good relationship.
you know, yeah,
Hey,
for
hey,
sure.
Hey, well, let's just be real here. I mean, even though Stephen King wrote the movie, maybe he really like shot the movie to be him. And
Or Darabont was his last lover, and the guy's like,
That's what I'm saying.
wear a
And
rubber.
I'm saying,
You know,
Andy
and
and
he
Red
like, saved
were-
his life. I mean, this is getting weird.
Yeah, a little off the rails.
The last one, this is a great one. I don't know if you read this, but the Freeman's voiceover. So they recorded that first. So all of Freeman's narration was recorded before the movie was filmed, and they played it before every scene to kind of set the tone for the actors.
Really?
Genius. All right, nitpicks here. Gonna pick some nits, some issues we have with this movie. There's a couple here. I'm gonna break down the escape here because there are a lot of escape
Related
issues I have
issues.
here.
Okay.
That's a big part of mine.
So, you know, he relies on the thunderstorm to get out with the, you know, have you ever seen the Family Guy one? It's awesome
Yeah.
where he does the song.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how do you know?
Now, weather reports suck now. They definitely sucked in the 60s. And how did he even get the weather report? Was it a farmer's almanac? We don't know.
That's a huge
but
part of my
like,
view. I
if
don't
he
get that.
didn't have the thunderstorm, he was just going to go for it. But they might have heard him and he wouldn't have escaped.
Are we sure that he would have gone still if the thunderstorm hadn't happened?
He had to. He was
Or-
pot committed. He stole the shoes.
He stole the shoes.
Oh, that's right,
Like I said,
yeah.
the
Pot
shoes-
committed,
well,
man.
but did he see the storm rolling in? He knew that was the night.
Maybe. But you
Yeah.
don't, I don't know. It's just,
It-
that's a nitpick.
It's a
I mean,
100%. I'm with you, Rob. Like, that's
It seems like he was at the end of his rope, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And he was making this decision to go one way or
Well,
the
the
other.
movie did state, and I'm with the movie, how like they, you know, Morgan Freeman states like
His
every time he
drop,
got killed, he was
his
like,
drop dead is stealing the stuff from the warden, right?
And he might have
Up
done
to
it
that
anyway
point-
without the thunderstorm, right?
Possibly.
But he's more likely to be heard and caught.
True.
It worked out perfect. Why does he not go all the way to the end of the wall when he sees that wall of the prison? He breaks it 50 yards short of that to crawl through 50 more yards.
oh right, yeah, because he's a big wall.
He
It's
knows
like,
which way he's going.
He just
Oh.
breaks through and goes straight down and
Why
breaks
not
the pipe.
crawl the pipe to the end by the wall?
Maybe
Yeah,
because
what's another 50 feet?
well, maybe because where the guards are at, their room could be.
That's true. The closer you are to the wall, the more it reverberates.
I see.
It was right across the wall right there.
See, this is why they're
You're
nitpicking.
poking holes in all your knits.
So, 500 yards. It's very, very long.
It's a long way.
There is a good chance in my mind, there's not a lot of oxygen in there, it's mostly just feces, that he just passes out and dies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And
By the way, I'm real
He's
quick,
breathing in a
just
ton of methane.
Just a piggy off your nitpick. Another huge of mine. Okay, very easy that he carved out the perfect hole for him to go through. How the hell did he know that was going to be easy enough? I mean, again, like
It's a big hole with a small rock.
Nonetheless,
perfect
how did
body
he know
size.
that pipe he was going to fit it in there? That pipe
Right.
didn't look big enough.
No, it didn't. And here's my thing, is that if he does pass out and die, the movie ends with, where's Andy at? Oh, he's dead in the sewage pipe.
Yeah, they'll eventually find him.
Not quite the uplifting ending.
Well, no,
right?
what would happen
Andy's
is
just
they-
dead in a freaking sewage
Well, no,
pipe.
here's the worst part: is that if that were to happen, because he busted that hole, it would just start smelling like sewage terribly.
Oh, yeah.
Because his dead body is just blocking the hole, and the sewage is just pumping through that hole.
I have more escape-related nitpicks. How is he so fresh the next morning? So he has the bar of soap, okay, but he did crawl through 500 yards of crap, and he also, the little pond he goes into, that's sewage runoff. The rain helps.
The rain does help.
So did
He's
he
gonna
find
smell
like
like
a rest stop bathroom? But I don't care. Any bar of soap, especially back then, is not great. That is not cleaning, and his hair is nice and gelled.
They probably don't
the
in jail.
suit's pressed.
They don't give him more than the hotel size bars
Yeah.
of soap, so it'd be tough. Yeah.
But he would not look as he looks
He would-
so.
the smell.
He looks $1 million.
The smell.
And just he looks so good. The suit's pressed. That's a big nitpick for me. The last one I have about the escape is the plastic bag, the Ziploc bag he has. At the end, he's running through it like he's not worried about it. That is the greatest Ziploc bag of all time because that thing it has everything in it, right? It's chess pieces, the suit, the shoes, everything.
You see
paperwork?
So when he climbs down the pipe after he gets through the wall,
wrong shoes.
Why, yeah, well, I don't care about that. The length of rope. Why would he have such a long length? Why wouldn't it be closer to his ankle so you could cut whatever?
Because the size is the hanging size where they wanted to have the.
Well, that's another
6 feet of
nitpick
rope.
that I'm just thinking of because they said Hayward's like he asked for 6 feet. Wherever the hell he's
Get 2 feet, bro.
Where the hell he's tying it to go down, to your point, it's not long enough. He should have been hanging.
One last one real quick. The opera that he plays through the PA system, the prison PA system, would sound awful. Like, you ever been in the terrible, like, drive-through at Burger King where it just, what do you want? Like, that would not sound pretty. It would sound like very muffled crap. So why, I know any music's going to sound good to these people, but it would not sound like they have it in the movie. It would sound awful. Story, what do you have?
So Tim Robbins is 3 inches taller than Bob Gundon, who plays the warden.
Yeah.
So neither the warden's suit nor his shoes should have fit Andy. Now, what's interesting is Bob Gundon is 6'2", but Tim Robbins is a monster 6'5". Yeah. So it did help that Bob Gundon is in that same range, but again, 3 inches is a lot. Yeah.
Have you seen Castaway?
Yes.
You know how he gets his shoes and he cuts out his little feet? So
Yeah.
essentially, when he goes in the bank, he has his toes.
That'd be fantastic. He's got ankle like the
Shiny shoes. That
Well, because the quote of the movie, like, how often do you look at a man's shoes? Yeah. Like, his toes are just
hanging out with
He looks like $1 million.
his
He's got
socks
sandals.
and his calf because of the pants.
Wow.
Yeah. None of the actors age over the 20 years the movie's supposed to take place. That's tough to do when you're filming that.
And you're in jail, too.
I do have one escape related. There's not enough sewage in the pipe to cause it to flow up and out like that, but also for there to be low enough for him to go in. Yeah.
That was for effect.
Small nitpicks.
Yeah, I love it. Ray?
Why? Okay, so as smart as they portray Andy to be, why the hell did he go straight to the warden after he initially learned this information?
Emma Blatch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like that.
Because you know that guy's a snaky dude.
Well, he said to him, like, if I get out, I'm not going to talk about your money laundering. So it's like you already know he has something that he does not want out about you. So he's going to do whatever he can take.
Why are you
to make
being so obtuse?
You don't get out. So I'm sorry. You go to.
How can you be so obtuse?
I'm sorry. You go to Gar. If I were him, I would have went to guards that I trusted and be like,
or am I being too obtuse?
Yeah, right. Or just somebody. I don't know. Just
get the story out.
Well,
right.
For me, it feels like an emotional snap. Like snap to like, this is my salvation. I'm going to jump to the first thing that I can think of. So, yeah, Andy's a smart guy, but he's not immune to emotional reactions. No. It's an interesting characterization in that even over 20 years, Andy still has that arrogance to him where he feels that the warden would feel, oh, okay, he's going to let me go because he knows that I'm guilty too. Andy's so arrogant that he thinks he knows how the warden is going to react.
All right, lightning round here. Weak link, what do you got?
Is there one? I mean,
Well,
maybe Haywood, I guess.
Stutter, he's okay.
Yeah, he's all right. I don't know that there is one.
I have Tommy's GED section, just in general, is the weak link of the film.
Okay.
It's just lame. Overacting award, I think this is super easy. It's Emma Blatch, man. That is the ultimate. Also the heat check, but I'm gonna put overacting. Just his laugh, like, I killed him, and the crazy tasty bitch he was with. Like he's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's referred to as a twitchy MFer, right?
Yeah,
Emma Blatch.
So that's. I thought his name was Floyd.
No, Emma Blatch.
Yeah. I have Captain Hadler.
Hadley?
Yeah.
Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty overacting.
It's just because like he literally just takes.
Oh, I get the wrong.
What
okay.
is the a-hole horrible guard who is not a cop. He's just a guard. You know what I mean? Like
the head,
it's like,
but yeah.
What I'm saying, like, but he acts like as if like he's like chief of police in the whole state of Maine. You know what I mean? Like, and he's a nobody,
BA, man.
But I mean, he does such a. Every time he's on camera, he just seems like it's not in a bad way. He just does like overacting into that a-hole way.
He's playing the part, right?
Yes.
Who do you have? Sorry.
The same guy. I got the actors mixed up, but Bill Bolander is the name of Emma Blatch.
Yeah,
so it's the same thing. And then also I did have Clancy Brown on there, Captain Hadley, and I think it's mostly just the scene on the roof where he just feels a little too comically villainous. Like he's not going to throw a guy off the roof, is he? Maybe. No. I don't know. Yeah.
Heat check. I got 3 nominees for you. I have Hadley, He might be in too many. It's 5 or 6 scenes, but he's kind of in the background of some other scenes. He also does shoot a guy.
True.
Boggs, and then Brooks, man. Brooks with the knife. I can grab it. You want me to grab the knife?
Keep the knife. Keep it down there.
There you go. Yeah. I have that as my heat check. What do you guys got?
So I know I did say overacting for Clancy Brown at times, but also, yeah, Captain Hadley is the bench player.
If
that
he's
I think,
not in too many, that's the only problem.
It's interesting because he's sadistic and he's cruel, but he doesn't do anything without the warden's approval. And so for me, the other heat check award is Bob Gundon, the Warden Norton. Yeah. Great actor. Great portrayal. Again, it's tough to get that flip-flop between the different characterizations, but Darabont kind of merged all those wardens into one, and I think Bob Gundon does a good job of kind of transitioning between scenes.
The scene where he's like, the woman can't bake
woman can't bake worth the damn.
And like, you know, he's like, oh, you don't have to worry, and he takes the money, like just such an a-hole, dude. What do you got?
I would say I have Boggs and I have Brooks as well. Just because I have Adler just for overacting, and I mean I get where you guys are coming from, but I just think I think of a heat check person to be not. I mean I know you guys said 6, 7 seasons in, but it's
Norton and Hadley may be in too much. It's hard to say because they're both supportive.
But I just sort of think of him not.
Yeah,
in the
that's
movie.
true.
Do you think Boggs is the answer?
Yes.
Boggs is is like
no, he is.
I like it when you.
No, he is because he's taking
Dude's pretty
out.
creepy.
He's taken out So they do the whole thing and Andy's been here for a couple months, and then he comes to Red and he's like, oh yeah, the sister's coming to you and he's like, it'll help that I'm not homeless. He's like, yeah, they have to be human, yeah, and whatever and
the fight back scene, he's in the shower and he puts his head under and it's just it's gotta be Boggs.
That is so. No, you're not wrong, Rob. That scene, that acting is so pedophilically creepy. It's not pedophile.
It's weird.
Predatorically creepy, dude. It is. Yeah, it's great acting. Even just sort of scene.
Pee break scene. I have just the whole Brooks. I know the suicide's huge and all that, but the letter does it justice enough. Like the whole scene of him watching the cars go fast and bagging groceries, it's too much. It doesn't fit in the movie to me.
I have that as well, but not for the same reason. I have it because it's sad and we know how it ends, and I think the letter would convey that. And you do get it after the first 2 minutes. So
it's like 7 minutes.
It does drag it out. I also have, as much as I love the rehabilitation speech, I know it right now. I know it quite well, so I could take a break before the last 20 minutes of the movie and go then.
All right.
Honestly, I just have every other eating scene except the original eating scene when they're talking about the original fish coming in.
Yeah.
That I think is an important scene, obviously, because it's really showing, besides the camaraderie of the original inmates, showing Andy and his moral humanness and just the sheer horror that happens inside of that prison.
Yeah. How's my horse doing? Dead.
He's dead. Yeah, right.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're so besides Andy, they're so just casual about the fact that
Haywood does look momentarily. It's either stunned or he looks sad a little bit.
He's got a cigarette, so he's good.
He's definitely stunned, because he figured, he got it. He's the fat ass got beat up and real bad, maybe a broken arm or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, no, he's dead.
Seemed to add, I didn't have one. Story, what do you have?
I'd like to see Red's smuggling operation in a little more detail. Yeah. How he gets things in and moves them around. I'd also like a flashback to Andy changing the poster with the hole in the wall present. So along the same lines of we see how he starts and then how he's moving along, I'd like to see him changing the poster out to the different ones.
And one thing I could say is that that's the greatest adhesive he has, because as I have these jerseys and stuff, they fall down when it's a little humid, a little hot in here. Apparently, he's in the hole for a month. It stays up. It always stays up. It's like the Viagra of adhesives. It always stays up.
Maybe the adhesives were better in the 40s.
How is that not an
50s, 60s?
That's a part of my own.
There you go. Yeah. How does it stay up?
Unanswerable questions. So, no. How did he put that back up?
When he goes in, also in the hole too. When he actually goes in for the final time, it's because it's hung from the top.
At the top, and
the bottom just kind of lays down.
It falls down. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. It's a stone wall, and I'm not saying they're giving up guns like we do in normal data. Bust into the stone wall to put up a poster. So again, right. I'm asking.
It's adhesive. It's crazy. What do you have, Ray?
Horse adhesive.
I would actually honestly like to see the actual killer, not necessarily the physical killing, but just some sort of flashback of him busting into the place, and just sort of maybe the wife and golfer horror before they got killed. I'm not talking the actual physical him killing them.
A little more action.
I mean, I wouldn't care if I saw that, but whatever.
I'm making a Quentin Tarantino. All right, hot take. You're gonna love mine. This movie would be so much more powerful if they had a Brokeback Mountain style sex scene with Andy and Red.
Not in '94, brother. Sorry,
well, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying.
It would be so awesome if they had that because you have interracial vibes. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. It's kind of a joke, but kind of serious. That's my opinion.
Well, the movie would have flopped in '94.
I'm just saying. That's what I want to see. What do you got, Ray?
Not that.
Well, that's my hot take, baby.
I'm sure there's fan fiction you can find. I'll go. So, couple of takes. Number one, there's really no subtlety in this movie. There's a lot of great foreshadowing, which I really, really love, but there's no subtlety in the symbolism. Like, the movie just beats you over the head with simple to understand themes. And then also, like I said earlier, I think it's an absolutely fantastic movie, but is it better than Goodfellas or Casino or The Matrix or The Return of the King or The Dark Knight?
Better than Return of the King.
No, get the hell. No, Return of the King won like a million Oscars.
Boo.
Yeah.
Wait,
Boo, 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 whoa.
Sorry. Did he just try to say that?
You have to
this
spell
is
it right,
not
you
as
think?
good as? Did he just say that?
Return of the King's not as good as this movie.
Return of the King is better than this movie.
Definitely better.
100%.
No, that's my least favorite Lord of the Rings, man.
100%.
No, well, The Two Towers is
Please
my
pound
favorite.
me,
Yes,
brother.
thank you.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Take that out.
Matt Walsh Award, a relevant actor. I got a bunch of nominees here. Red's entire crew, Hayward the Stutterer, we have all those guys. Boggs, Bob Gunton, who's a bigger name.
He's the warden.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of awesome stuff. Demolition Man, Patchy
Heck yeah.
Adams, Perfect Storm, Ace Ventura. He's always a douche.
He's in Ace Ventura.
Yeah, he's playing the same guy, just a douche.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's always a douche.
So a lot of those guys are Frank Darabont regulars, right? They're in The Mist, they're in The Green Mile, they're in The Walking Dead. So mine is Jeffrey DeMunn. He's the DA who, at the very beginning of the movie, he played. He's in all these movies, and then
Wait,
that might be the answer.
Wait a minute, that guy is the director?
no, Paul
DA.
DeMunn is the DA.
The guy
I'm sorry,
that's,
the prosecutor.
Yeah, that guy. You're right. I've seen that guy.
He's in a lot of stuff, and then
might
he's
be
also
the
in
answer,
The
bro.
X-Files. He's in, and then Paul McCrane. He's one of the guards that he's on the roof. He's in like 120 episodes.
Shorter kinda guy,
He's in ER. He plays Jack Bauer's brother in 24. He's in The X-Files, couple episodes. So
nice answer. There you go. What do you got? Right.
Well, I know these answers may not agree with you guys. I just more go with the Matt Walsh Award of you know their faces, you don't know their names. So I'm going with William Sadler with Hayward. I mean, I know that. I mean, you may be able to agree, old man, but with
he's in The Mist too.
well, he is in The Mist. He
Plays one of the acolytes.
He's in The Mist
but I'm saying no, but
Mist too.
Bill,
The Mist too.
that's a name.
More mistening.
No, but sorry, I was more talking Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. How he plays Death, because that's in 2000. I think that's 92.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's 92. This is 94, and that was I mean, it's a cult classic, but nonetheless, like obviously in that little cult following, that was a big, like people would know him, but otherwise, no. I mean, in my eyes, I don't know him, but nonetheless, he's great. And then also Mark Rothelson, who plays Boggs. I've seen him in plenty of things.
100%.
Again, I can never ever put his name to his
He's
face.
definitely probably in an X-Files episode, too.
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly. All right, Alter speed round here. Let's get it going. We have one Oscar to give. I think we all agree it's Robbins.
Yes.
Right? I know Freeman's
Morgan
awesome,
Freeman.
right?
It's Morgan Freeman for me. I think. I mean, he didn't get robbed because Tom Hanks won the Oscar
Robbins?
that year.
Gingerly touch on tips.
We got Robbins. Sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
Unanswerable questions. I actually only have one. We've touched on a lot of these. This is a good one, though. How did Andy, so when he tells him about the tree in Buxton, okay, he had been in prison for 25 years. How did he know that tree is still there, the wall is still there, the rock's still there? I would have just guessed if that was him. I know different times, but it's just a Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a Walmart.
Do you think he buried that package after he was prosecuted, or after
he did, after, yeah. 'cause the
100%
money's
after.
in there.
Yeah.
And then letter. But I'm saying, like, he specifically picked that spot because they made love under the tree with his wife. But if he goes there after he says that and it's a Walmart, what is he going to do?
So
Then he can't go back and tell Red because he's a fugitive.
You could send a postcard from Z
Rob-
Guantanamo.
Yeah, right.
That little tree and wall you
got-
thought was there.
Red in the middle of Walmart,
Walmart.
jackhammering up the cement.
Like you said, it is so long ago.
What would Andy have done if he had been moved to a different cell halfway through the digging of the tunnel?
100%.
Yeah,
That's a
Maybe a
You're
better
in
cell,
bad
right?
shape.
That's
Yeah.
a phenomenal.
No, I don't want to go there. I
Or
want this-
cast
I
in,
want-
cast in with the sodomites.
Great question.
He's got to redig this hole.
Yeah.
How does Andy visit nearly a dozen banks in the Portland area when Escaped convict feels like it would take at least half an hour per bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was it no cameras? I guess. I mean,
And then
it's
if the real murderer, Elmo Blatch, had confessed after the killing and after Andy had escaped, could he have come back to the United States? Would he have been exonerated? Because he's still an escaped convict.
He wanted to go to Zihuatanejo in the Pacific Ocean, so he didn't have any reason to.
Well, that's also there. Would he have wanted to?
No,
it was on
no,
there
he
as well.
wouldn't have.
But could he have come back?
Yes. Inception thing, right? He wants to come back to the country. What do you got?
Well, I guess you guys answered mine, but I still have very high questions of how that poster stayed up back in those days. You can tell me adhesive all you want.
The adhesive sucked.
I'm just saying.
Horse adhesive.
I don't know. It's just a fact. I don't know. But either way,
Maybe he used his own semen.
And then also, how did they not I'm sorry. He did it for 20 years. I understand he was trusted, but still, they didn't figure out in one iota of a way that he was doing what he was doing. Just for me,
Complacency. People see what they want to see.
That's true. What memorabilia do you want? I had one, just the rock hammer.
I want the Bible with the hidden compartment.
Ooh,
I had the harmonica, and I want Red's hat, and the original hat, and I want his old timey glove.
I also want that Raquel Welch poster.
Yeah, they were called.
You can get that though.
That is
Probably.
That is the top poster.
No, but I want that poster.
That poster.
Because I want to see how it was stuck up there. Because Ray's Kevin.
Well, he was sticking it up there. That one definitely was stuck up there with his own hair gel. As you say. Best quote, I didn't have any. We probably talked about a bunch. What do you have?
Only guilty man in Shawshank.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And you mentioned earlier, the funny thing is, on the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook. It's not a quote, but it's written in the Bible. Dear Warden, you were right. Salvation lay within. Andy Dufresne. Great gotcha, or a great F you to him.
That is.
And at Red's narration, I like to think the last thing that went through his head, other than that bullet. And then one of my favorites is what they're talking about, the Count of Monte Cristo. You got Haywood.
Yeah.
The Count of Monte Cristo. Alexandre Dumbass. Dumas. You know what it's about. You'll like it. It's about a prison break.
Yeah.
Well, we ought to file out under educational tools, oughtn't we?
Apex Mountain, Morgan Freeman, ? I still think probably yes, dude. I mean, I know he's done a lot of good stuff. The bucket list is good. So what? Seven might be it.
Yeah,
Seven's
after.
probably it.
Wait, was seven after this?
After this.
Okay.
Seven's 96. This is 94. It's probably 7.
Olympus Has Fallen?
Come on.
No, the
it's
movie's
probably
still-
7, just because
Yeah,
he's writing
it probably
this.
is 7.
But this is his best film. Because you paired the acting with the
Yeah,
narration. Come
but
on.
better performance in 7.
I like it, dude.
Yeah.
What is his name again? Somerset?
Yeah,
He's
Detective
awesome.
Somerset,
Oh, my
because
God.
Mills is Brad Pitt.
Plays so well off Brad Pitt. I love that. Tim Robbins, 100% yes. This is might be
No way, man. Mystic River.
Come on.
Mystic River.
No.
Yeah.
This
Oh.
may be the easiest answer we've ever had.
No
right?
way.
Thank you.
It's
Ray.
a great performance.
Well,
but
this guy's
his
a film
perform-
junkie.
He
and
won the Academy Award
care.
for
What
is that?
Mystic
But
River.
Academy
This movie
Award.
ain't-
Well-
This movie ain't.
Derrick
without
Rose won
him.
the MVP, but did he really?
Yeah.
Like
He did.
LeBron should have won that one.
No, he shouldn't have.
Dwight Howard should have won that over him.
No, he
I love
shouldn't
D
have
Rose.
either.
Bob Gunton? ?
Yes, I had him.
Probably.
What year was Demolition Man?
That's 93.
Okay.
I had Bob Gunn on here as well.
I've got William Sadler. He plays Haywood. So I went through his IMDb.
definitely.
There's he did a bunch of stuff before this, and he's done a bunch of stuff since, but nothing really.
So I'm telling you, I'm
this
telling
prestigious.
you, I think those are the two. If you just talk to people, they show them the picture. There's either two types of people: Bill and Ted's Bo's Journey or this. Which normal film people will do this, and Ray's will do that.
Why are you talking about that? Jesus.
Because I love those movies. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Frig off, lady.
Prison movies. Is this the apex for that? I do love Green Mile. Green Mile's
great.
Got Tom. It's funny that Tom Hanks ended up being in Green Mile, right? Green Mile's a little too long.
Have you seen Sins of Our Father?
No.
That's Daniel Day-Lewis. It's an outstanding
say
film.
Prison Break.
Prison Break, the series.
Not a movie, but like that's a good one.
Prison Break. I did like that
I'm
show.
pretty sure it's prison. I think this is the apex for prison movies.
Sins of Our Father.
You know, there's Escape from Alcatraz. There's a bunch of good ones, but I think this is it.
Yeah.
It's not as dark. I mean, it is
So
dark.
you're
but
talking
it's
Escape
not.
from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood? That
Yes.
movie? Yeah, that's an okay one. Prison movies. What's the one with Adam Sandler? The Longest Yard.
Jesus. All right.
No, you're
All
probably
We're
right,
gonna
yeah.
end on that one,
Yeah.
guys. This was awesome. Final thoughts on the movie, on the wrapping up our 10 movie pods deep dives for this year. I love how we ended it on Shawshank because I wouldn't want to end it with anything else.
No, I'm excited to go back and watch these movies now that I've done some time spent some time reflecting and researching and getting to know them a little better. So I'm probably go home, turn on TBS, and there
Isn't it
Shawshank
nice,
will be
though,
on.
that to be able to, we do all this research, talk about it, and the test is if you love a movie like The Matrix, and we watch it how many times to prep for this podcast, and how many times we watched it before, if you can still watch it after all this and not be sick of it, after you know every morsel of the movie, that shows that the movie is worthy of a movie deep dive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Ray, Shawshank, final thoughts, baby.
So I have to say, honestly, with the final thoughts of this movie, it's one of those movies that, it's definitely and always should be going down as one of the all-time epic movies. But I feel like as time goes on, Gen Z and Beta, Gen Beta and all them, they're going to get bored of the movie quicker than they should because it's a slow burn, but it's an epic burn. And honestly, the fact is that these kids younger than us, and I'm the youngest. I'm 33, and you guys are older than me.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm the old man yelling at the cloud right now, Abe Simpson style, saying that these Gen Zers. I'm not gonna lie, like so many of these epic movies that we all love and cherish. Even let's be realistic here. The movies that our grandparents cherished are now dead.
Yeah.
Think about it. I'm saying
Gone with the Wind.
Maybe rightfully so.
You ever watch
Is this
Gone with
gonna
the
be-
Wind?
It's not great.
That movie
Is this going to be
sucks.
Gone with the Wind in 40 years?
Or even was it North up? Was it North Up? Was the thing? Help me out here.
North by Northwest?
Thank you. Yes, that one. I'm saying that goes down, and that's always in the top 10 all-time movies.
Yeah, but so's Citizen Kane, and that movie sucks too.
No, I'm with you. But
So
that's what I'm
let's say
saying.
this.
We're getting off topic.
I love you guys both. This is awesome. I'm super happy. This is supposed to be the last one, but just so you know, we might have a couple bonus ones for you in June.
Keep an eye out.
Because we had so much fun doing
your
this.
eye
Did we
out.
not?
Yeah, we had a blast.
Say thank you to Rob for doing all this.
Thank you to Rob.
Thank you, old man.
This is awesome, man. Shawshank. Let's go.
Hey, let's go, brothers.
And it's been a complete joy.